What you see here in the gallery is my latest body of work entitled Natural Progression. Much of what I like to look at, or what inspires me about making glass, I look a lot towards human body proportion and even internal organs and their shapes. My name is Benjamin Cobb and I'm from Seattle, Washington. These pieces here I think stand apart. They're pretty distinct from the other pieces in the show. I've gotten a lot of comments on especially from doctors it seems like, who recognize the title again and see the pieces and say, wow, it really fits. These are a visceral stomach and a sutured stomach. The visceral stomach, these bundles of canes are supposed to represent the striations that you find in muscle fibers and sinew. The sutured stomach has the same idea, and again there's a seam that kind of runs across the middle of the piece, so maybe a spot where it has been torn or ripped and is growing back together. This piece here is called lobated suture, and this kind of represents a newer direction in my work too, is the possibility of using multiple elements to create a singular form. And I was always inspired by sort of bundles of muscles. The suture part, again, is focusing on the seam of the piece where you can see the lines coming together. Kind of challenging people's perception of beauty. Something entitled stomach really evokes, for some people, maybe a negative or just sort of a funny feeling or reaction to the word stomach. And so making these sleek forms and challenging the viewer's idea of the word stomach, making something beautiful in that respect, and it's very inspiring to me. I've been working at the Museum of Glass for 8 years now. My unique position in working at the Museum of Glass, and I think that goes for the other guys as well, I think to date we've worked with something in the area of over 250 different visiting artists at the museum, and we're there as visiting art support. So sometimes we're making the objects and sometimes we're assisting when we have like a really high profile glassmaker come in. Being on the stick, so to speak, every day and blowing glass every day really is a learning process. You kind of learn something new thing every day, and sometimes we're challenged quite a bit to come up with a different way to work, or we see different techniques that people use and we can then draw upon that and say, hey, that's a really good idea. And I'm sure that part of that really creeps into how I approach the material. I have the ability to try things different ways and find out what works best for me. And I do think that over the 8 years, that has been a major player in how the growth and development of my personal skills. I get a lot of questions about the windows in my work, and since I am using glass, I try to use all the properties of glass. So it can be opaque, translucent, and transparent. So it's a sort of a technique that I developed over years of working with glass, where I poke a hole in the bubble in its very early stages, and it's gathered over several times, and as it blows up, that little hole expands into these big windows, giving the viewer the opportunity to see into as well as through the vessel. So it's using really all the qualities that glass can possess, and it also allows me maximum versatility with finding different shadows or surface decoration that I can use from the interior to the exterior. I think every time you work and you're making your own work, you're kind of learning something new. And as far as developing another body of work, there's a lot of new forms in the show, these pod forms, which are based on different seed pods from different trees and flowers and plants. And I can see developing that quite a bit further. As far as changing gears, yeah, I don't think there's ever enough time to really make everything that you're thinking of. So I have lots of other ideas, and I'm sure some will come out in the coming years, I hope.